Hey, friends, welcome back. This is going to be lesson 2 for week 2, the mind body connection. And driving off of last lesson, what's your state, right? How do we give meaning? What language do you use? What words do we use? Where is our focus? I want to allow you to discover how your state and what meaning you assign is actually driven by a set of needs that all humans collectively share. Equally share, yet needs that maybe some person craves more of one, another person craves more of the other. And so it defines so deeply how much we assign meaning to things. Today, what we're really going to do that's going to be really interesting, though, is discovering the 6 human needs within our bodies. And this is where you're going to see how this mind and body connection continue to play together and really impact the quality of your life, your decisions, and how you personally encounter projects, take on new challenges, and really create new opportunities for yourself. Let's dive in. The 666, not cool. So the 6 human needs. First and foremost, where did I find these? Where did they come from? And what are they in general? So these 6 human needs are based on Tony Robbins's work again. And the fun story about this is the way he describes this concept coming to him is actually he was in the shower one day and he had been thinking about these concepts. You know, what do all human beings have in common? What drives human beings to do what they do? And all of a sudden he had this intuitive kind of thought come flow through him. And the way he describes the story is he ran out of the shower and he started writing about all of these needs that were kind of intuitively coming to him. Flow states, as we've described. And what he discovered, and this really does apply, I've had it work with every single client that I know. He's been teaching this work to millions and millions of people around the world. And if we really look at it, every single one of us has a need for certainty, variety, significance, love and connection, growth, and contribution. Now, let's explore each need further and find them in our bodies. Now, as we go through these 6 human needs, I want you to notice that some people in your life might prioritize, right? Might enjoy or need more of one need than the other. Yourself included. You might value certainty more, someone else might value variety more, but we all share these needs. So let's go on and discover what the needs are and then where they are in our body. Let's talk about certainty first and foremost. Every single one of us across the board has a need for certainty. We have a need to feel safe, to feel that there's a roof over our head, to know that we're going to wake up the next day, that we're going to have food to eat, that there's a shelter, right? Certainty. I also want you to think about when you think about being certain, about being resolute, about being steadfast and determined, right? even those words that I'm using now, what feelings come up inside of your body? When I think about the emotions, words, language that comes up, thinking about the idea of certainty, things that came up for me were steadfast, resilient, always, content, knowing, clarity. Certainty comes with a certain stew of clarity, right? Where is certainty in your body? And when you think of a time, imagine when you felt really certain or something in your life that you're very certain about. Usually when someone is certain, they're confident, their shoulders are back, they're standing upright. Certainty often feels like it's in our foundation area. And it's very interesting because according to the chakra system, we can explore those modalities further, but we're all somewhat aware of the chakras, different energy centers within our body based on certain Eastern philosophies and traditions. The root chakra is our grounding, right? Is that foundation, that source, that certainty that oftentimes we experience at our base when we know something so deeply. Do you feel an emotional charge in your hips, a steadiness, a coolness, a grounding energy inside of your body? According to the Kabbalah, there's a similar energy system in the Kabbalah. And again, the very root chakra of the Kabbalah system, energy center, is called foundation. And so that feeling from the bottom up, almost like the human body, right? Our legs are our foundation. It's where our certainty, where we stand up straight, comes from, that base, that hips, the alignment. I don't know if y'all have ever visited a chiropractor, or even gone to a massage, but I often have upper shoulder and neck and back release things, and the chiropractor or the massage therapist will start working on my hips before they ever get to my shoulders to create that alignment, to create that foundation, that base, so the rest of the spine can line up. This is certainty, and it's such a primitive need. It's such a foundational need, right? Until we're safe, until we have our basic needs met, we might feel uneasy, we might feel anxious, we might feel worried. And so this need for certainty, everyone shares. But if we had certainty to the extreme, we would always feel comfortable with our bodies. There would never be new situations, no butterflies, no fluttering, right? No first dates. We'd always be certain about things. We wouldn't have excitement and variety. So paradoxically, our next need is variety. Let's look into that further. So as I alluded to, our second need, the need for variety, plays a very big part in our lives as well. And some people really, really, really prioritize variety over certainty. I know definitely for myself, I've always been a risk taker, an adventurer, right? Those are kind of, again, I didn't outline it this time, but we're thinking about words, meaning what we assign to these needs and how we feel them in our bodies to discover what we actually value the most, what needs are most important to us. How do we prioritize these needs? And how does that create meaning in our life, therefore in our state? Now, for me, variety is adventure and play and exploration and curiosity, right? We all have a need to discover something new, and people love to travel, or to the extreme extent, someone who absolutely loves variety might take on 50-foot waves on at Jaws on Maui surfing, or jump out of helicopters with a snowboard attached to their feet and go down crazy mountains. That could be the extreme need for variety playing itself out for adventure. Now, on the other hand, too much variety, right? Uncertainty can feel, I wrote here, scared, unknown, right? When we're trying to think, should I pursue a new career? Should I actually give this guy another chance? Should I go on that risk-taking adventure or book that vacation, it can feel nervous and anxious. And so when we think about variety in our bodies, I want you to consider, where is that emotion in your body? So oftentimes for me, variety shows up in my chest, in my belly, butterflies, right? Buzzing, light. Variety is often more playful. It's not like poised or graceful or confident. It's not sad or upset. It's oftentimes a lot more movement, right? And dance and flow. As I speak about variety, my body just wants to open up. So variety for me is buzzing, it's excitement, it's moving. On the other hand, in the negative, variety can feel like I'm scared, like I'm tense, like I get into fight or flight or even freeze mode, right? Almost like your belly drops, like you hear horrible news and it just your stomach sinks. That's that oomph of variety, like I didn't want that, right? So if you really, really value variety, that might not be as big of a dilemma for you. Pardon me, y'all. However, if you really, really need certainty in your life, you might exclude yourself from a lot of these feelings, the emotions of openness and movement and excitement and buzzing, which may hold you back, right, from so many other areas of your life, things that you want to pursue and dream about. So all of these needs we meet somehow in the positive or the negative, and we experience in our bodies, both in the positive and the negative. Keep that in mind as we explore our next need. So our third human need is the need for significance. If you think about significance, it's the need to make an impact, the need to be needed, the need to be maybe contribute in charge of a project, to feel powerful. In the negative, oftentimes when humans aren't noticed, when they don't receive that validation, when they aren't told good job or given the resources that they need, significance in the negative could look like ego or force or power. The example Tony Robbins always uses that really resonates with me is when someone chooses to pick up a gun, right, and rob someone at gunpoint. For that moment, they are feeling significant. They are feeling powerful, right? I don't even want to do the motion, but you can just imagine yourself like, or even a bully standing over somebody with that motion, that's significance, right? And I can just, as I'm doing it, I feel it in my body, right? So again, when we're discovering our need for significance, our need to be noticed, our need to be known, or to be seen, to be understood, what words am I assigning, right? What words am I using? How do I value and look at significance? So some of the things that I wrote is power, contribution, value, known. Now, all of these things can be very neutral, but sometimes we look at it as ego or force, and that's, you know, the politicians and corruption, money and corruption begs, you know, this era of significance where maybe they're so significant, they're above the law, right? And so I think this is in the negative where that significance is. Now, when we think about significance in our body, again, right, from that, I'm going to get you, to just someone feeling poised and confident and feeling like they're adding value. How can significance look in your body? How does significance feel in your body? For me, oftentimes significance is more upright. It is in my shoulders, it's in my neck, it's in my throat, it's expression, right? In the positive, significance is service and allowing my message to come through and being there for others and holding space and being seen in a way that I add value to the situation, to somebody else's life. Therefore, that gives me significance. In the negative, again, significance can look like the bullying or the frustration, but still, it's usually a big puffed chest, right? That we see. Just want you to notice that in your bodies right now. And again, how much we associate different meanings, different postures, different energies between our mind and body connection and between these subconscious needs that we all share. Now, if you value significance a lot, how do you pursue that? And what would be the result if you didn't get the visibility, the knowing, the seeing that you truly valued? Now, I want you to think about it. Significance doesn't have to be a bad thing. Being known doesn't have to be a bad thing. Mother Teresa made a very significant positive impact. Martin Luther King Jr. was extremely significant, right? Very significant, altruistic, amazing people do exist. So again, significance, both in the positive and in the negative, is a very beautiful, valuable human characteristic. The question is how do we use our language, our physiology to meet that need as we all share it? And depending on how much we personally prioritize, what impact does that make in our own lives? Let's look at the next need. All right, my friends, a little spoiler alert, something to know about me personally. Love and connection. This is definitely my top need. Definitely how I express all of my positive attributes, and as well where I've noticed a lot of my victim stories come up too. Love and connection. It's fairly easy to describe. If we think about a baby coming into the world, the biggest thing that they need really is comfort, security, certainty, right? Not so much variety, not so much adventure, not so much significance. They are significant as they are. But one of the things that babies crucially need is love and connection. We are born into this world requiring skin to skin and warmth and being around people and socializing, right? And we grow up in this way and we want to be a part of a group, contribute all the way to all the fairy tales that we see in every movie, and how much we value love, connection, relationship building in our society, how important that is. So we all have a need for love and connection. In the positive, some of the things that I thought about love and connection was that it was universal, divine, right? The word that I associated with love and connection when I was just writing this class out for y'all was essence. It's the essence of my being. Bonding, unity, right? It's very deeper concepts. It definitely activates the heart, my face, belly, warmth, ease, comfort, right? It feels very comfortable, like a very big blanket, warm, very positive, loving emotions almost start flowing over my body as I speak about love and connection in the positive. And as you can see in the positive, because I value this work so much, I have such a deep yearning to be loving and connecting to others, to serve others through the work that I'm doing, through my passion projects, right? It's all about love and connection for me. How can I connect, love, build these relationships with my people, my tribe, right? Y'all, I'm so grateful right now just speaking about this opportunity. On the other hand, like I said, every need, especially when we prioritize them with so much significance, ironically enough, love and connection too can feel when you aren't getting love and connection, when you aren't meeting the need for it, like loss and loneliness. And I put impossible, right? Isolation. And so for me, not getting, or seemingly, it's all about radical self love at the end of the day, but me not giving myself that radical love, that love and connection. And that's where the relationship really starts. And that's why week one is all about radical self love and how do we take care of ourselves and our thoughts and our physiology. For me, I felt like a pit in my stomach and I felt so dark and I felt collapsed, right? If you think about someone depressed, hugging themselves, crying, or isolating, that also is a form of nurturing yourself and giving yourself love and connection, and just didn't realize I was doing it the hard way around. And the other thing we end up doing to create love and connection for ourselves when we're really craving it and aren't meeting that need in more proactive, positive ways is oftentimes people with a serious need for love and connection, myself included, end up creating dependency issues, substances that fill in the gaps, right? I started smoking cigarettes, I drank a lot, I became a total pothead in high school. That whole journey was me feeling so isolated, like I didn't belong, like I wasn't getting the love and connection that I needed, that I was still meeting that need in much more destructive ways, so to say, but it was all a protection mechanism within. So still a lot of respect for myself now that I see it that way. It's so much easier to let it flow and dismiss, the shame and the pain and the guilt that I associate with those behaviors, but understand that all I have to do is meet my need for love and connection in the positive. And then for these other behaviors will naturally evaporate. And this is exactly what we're actually going to start looking into for the next two needs. What Tony Robbins explains is all of these base four needs, love and connection, certainty, variety, and significance, are needs that we all must meet in one way or another. We're going to compromise and meet them in the negative if we don't get them in the positive. However, the last two needs are like a cure-all for all of meeting our needs in the positive. The first four are positive. And the reason being is because the last two needs are actually needs that are more needs of the soul. And they're needs that if we don't meet them, we'll live life. But ultimately, we won't ever truly be satisfied because we'll often find ourselves in that negative pattern of these other four needs. So let's look at those. All right. So need number 5, our need to grow. Now, again, I said that this isn't a need that people necessarily will fill voluntarily, but if we think about growth, we're always evolving. We're always growing, right? From the time that time starts clicking for us, that we enter this body, this physical reality, we're always maturing in some way. So the idea of growth is almost like growth is inevitable. The question is how are we going to play with it? Now, growth is evolution. It's personal development. I know you all are filling your need for growth in the positive by being in this course, by involving yourselves in programs like this. Growth is that aspect of seeing a challenge out ahead of us and trying to see what we can do before we arrive there to solve for it, right? To see who we become in the process, to see what we can accomplish. So some of the ideas, the thoughts that came to me when I was preparing for this class for you all and thinking about growth was, first thing that came up was Eye of the Tiger, dun, 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 right? But just thinking about Rocky, like going to the gym, preparing and getting ready for that big challenge. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm such a goofball. But, really getting into that perseverance, seeing that big giant battle ahead and knowing in your faith certainty, while there's still adventure and variety there, meeting that paradoxical need to take it on, right? Authentic. I feel like when you grow, oftentimes you overcome yourself. And when you overcome yourself, you tap deeper into your knowing. You'll see next week when we go into emotions, the whole reason I named this workshop Integrate is because oftentimes it is the process of integration, especially emotional integration. When we work with our inner child, when we bring back parts of ourselves that we've suppressed or kept quiet for so long, that we discover who we are in our essence and our truth. And so although growth can be hard, it is such an authentic process to being our fullest selves. And that authenticity, again, feels like we're connecting to ourselves and we're treating ourselves significantly. It meets so many of our other needs. Know thyself, the hero's journey, y'all. I put the hero's journey because if you think about every story, every movie, from Harry Potter to the Lord of the Rings to the Matrix to just your basic love stories to the people in our communities that are making impacts, and even people in your life that are resilient and have done amazing, extraordinary things, it's always the people who have had those biggest heroes journeys, right? The biggest challenges, when they were overcome with what seemed to be an impossible task, and yet they chose to go for it, right? And take on the challenge and travel the lands and do what they had to do to excel at their craft and become that hero in the story. And so we humans value growth so much. We love it in movies. We love it in our society. We love to see it in others. And most importantly, when we are our own hero, when we step into that role for ourselves, we just naturally start to fall in love again with our authenticity, knowing thyself, with our own hero's journey, what we're able to overcome. And it is such a beautiful feeling within your body, right? When you're able to realize that you are your own hero. And overcoming is another word that I put, right? Growth feels like you've gone through the hurdles, you've overcome a serious challenge. And that is just so, so beautiful. Now, on the other hand, growth can be ignored. You can feel complacent, unsatisfied, comfortable, right? I want to stay in the comfort, in that certainty zone. And when we do that, oftentimes we feel closed, we feel stuck. If you feel that emotion in your body, it's not a easy emotion. It's not a positive emotion, complacency. Whereas on the lighter side, when you are in that eye of the tiger, contributing your hero's journey moment, you feel powerful, you feel self-love, you feel satisfaction and significance, you feel confident, resilient, content. Really want you to tap into that deep, deep, deep within your body, those feelings of growth. Just really breathe that in and experience that now, and know that this is the feeling where we'll learn later on in this challenge about living in breakthrough. This feeling is absolutely incredible. And it is such a divine fuel, such an amazing source of energy to propel you through even those next challenges in your life, right? If you think about every hero, somehow they came up with this mysterious energy to keep on going, no matter the hurdle. That's because they were growing, evolving in the process, becoming themselves, fueled by that state, right? It's beautiful. Now, what's our last need? Let's check it out. So finally, need number 6, contribution. Again, contribution is something that's somewhat voluntary. Obviously, a lot of us, if you're interested, I could post some information about zero-sum game exchanges, right? I'll do this for you if you do this for me. So we contribute in ways where we have to have an exchange system in this world. People have to function. We live in community. We need each other. We need different resources that we all have. We need transactions. But contribution, when done in the positive, is that idea of selfless giving. I put right underneath Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King Jr. I put to be a chariot, right? To be a vessel, to be a carrier of a message that's beyond you, and to be able to give in ways that just seem not humanly. Now, obviously, I'm not expecting everyone to be a Mother Teresa, but to really see what contribution feels like, to go outside of yourself, to give selflessly, what that energy is like in your body. I wanted to bring up those examples, and contribution, when done correctly, people who are living in philanthropy and giving back are living in a state of gratitude, in a state of satisfaction. They feel open. They feel like they're able to give. They feel abundant and satisfied, right? And it is ultimately, that is the state of thriving. When you feel like you have so much, you have enough, you are so in your power with all of the other needs being met, that now you can just give back freely, so satisfactorily to yourself, to others as well. In the negative, when we don't contribute, it sounds like, hey, it's not my problem, or people need to take care of themselves, right? But when you think about those ideas in your body, it feels closed. It's not a satisfying feeling, and it's definitely feels more isolating, more closed off. Now, most of our projects, most of our passion projects, especially in this life, I would beckon that anyone who's in my course, who's attracted to me, is deeply wanting to contribute, deeply wanting to give back, deeply wanting to be a light to others, to be a source of inspiration and goodness to other people within their lives, within their communities. And so if you're here, I just want you to really tap into moments of contribution when you really gave back selflessly. What did that feel like in your body? What kind of a high did that give you? What experience did that give you? And how does contribution fuel all of your other needs? When you contribute, do you feel more significant? Do you feel more loved, like you're connecting, right? Does it create both certainty and variety for yourself? And contribution, again, is one of those needs where if we focus on growth and contribution, all of the other things become so much easier to take out of the negative and into that positive. And when we do the positive interpretations, the positive meanings, and meet our needs most resourcefully and enthusiastically and with joy and with pleasure, in the most authentic way to ourselves, what kind of state would we be in every morning? And furthermore, how much better could we get to know ourselves if we could tune in to our bodies and say, oh my gosh, I'm elevated, I'm in my chest, I'm feeling like this. Hey, that's associated with that need. What can I do? What can I shift in my day, in my schedule? Maybe I need a little more certainty. Maybe there's too much variety, too much hecticness going on, right? Or I'm feeling really bored. I feel like everything's settled, everything is good. Maybe I'm too certain. I need to add some variety, right? I need a hug. I'm feeling, right, the love and connection is missing. Who can I reach out to for a hug right now? When you start noticing this in your body, as well as how much you value these needs and how much you prioritize them, everything starts to shift, because automatically you're able to see, oh, this is just my meaning association. Now, what can I do to meet this need in a way that's true to me? And you'll know that you're doing so because it'll always feel well in your body. It'll feel satisfying. It'll feel deep. It'll feel properly placed, right? It'll feel like the right representation of significance or value or love or connection. It won't feel like anxiety or frustration or like you're scattered. It'll feel congruent together and aligned within your body. And the more you're able to discover these needs within your body, the more you'll be able to meet these needs for yourself, with your mind, and with your body. So for today's homework, to discover these needs within your body a bit further, today's class is a little bit longer, so we'll keep the homework a lot shorter. Today, I'm going to post a link for you all, and we're going to go to Tony Robbins' website, or you can, if you want to, just Google Tony Robbins 6 Human Needs Test. It'll come up right away. And take that quiz. It's a short little quiz through his website, and it'll actually give you a score of what needs you prioritize, what needs you value the most. You'll see how the questions play out after this class on that quiz. And I just want you to take a couple minutes today to really journal about your top 2 needs. And maybe you don't even have to take this quiz. Maybe after just watching this class, you're like, oh yeah, love and connection and certainty, those are my 2 things, right? Or maybe I really want to work on growth and contribution. Take the needs that you value a lot, that resonate with you. If we're not going to take the quiz, that's totally fine. And then just journal about them. Journal about, where's your state? Where's your focus when it comes to those needs? Are you meeting those needs in the positive and the negative? What meaning are you associating to those needs being met in your life or not being met in your life? And how does that affect your overall state, right? Your focus, your physiology, and the meaning that you assign. How does that affect how you present yourself, how you wake up, how you do things in life, throughout life? And notice that connection between the thoughts that you think and the feeling that you receive in your body based on your prioritization of those top 2 needs. I love y'all, and I'll see you in the next class. Thanks so much, friends.